This is Shane Manning with Thunder Promotions. I'm here with Kurt Arft. Well, Kurt,
Hey, how's it going? Hey, how's it going, everybody? Hey, Shane, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, doing good. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you.
Okay, good, good. Well, let's talk a little bit about who you are. When I discovered you, you were with Die Hard Till Death. So let's talk about that a little bit.
Okay.
So where was, or where does the Die Hard Till Death come from?
Uh, where did Die Hard Till Death come from?
Yes.
Basically, back in like 2009, I got contacted by Steve, who was a guitar player for Die Hard Till Death. He contacted me on Facebook and messaged me and told me he was starting a band up and wanted me to play bass. Actually, he told me I was the bass player already. He didn't really give me a choice.
Wow.
And so he sent me some stuff over, and I checked it out, and I dug it. So, we just kind of went from there. For about the first year, it was just me and him. He was writing a record, and I had gone out there a couple of times and jammed with him and worked on my parts and helped write some of the stuff. About 2010 then, we had found, he had been introduced to Paul, the drummer, through a mutual friend of theirs. And Paul used to play for Joey Belladonna, a solo band, a singer from Anthrax.
Nice.
So we got Paul on board, and then we had originally had a singer on board that Paul had been in a cover band with, and really dug his voice and everything, and it was really cool. And like a week before we were supposed to go in the studio to record, he had contacted us and let us know that he wasn't going to be able to fulfill his obligations to the band, and I guess basically said we're more serious than he's got time for.
Right.
So Steve called up an old buddy of his that he had been in a band with many years ago, which happened to be Kenny,
Right.
and asked if he wanted to come and join the band and fly out and do the record. And luckily Kenny said yes, so that pretty much rounded out the lineup. And yeah, like a week later, Kenny was out in Rochester, New York, and we started recording the record then at House of Guitars, and had the studio out there right across the street from the house where Metallica recorded, I believe it was Kill 'Em All.
Oh, wow, nice. Very nice.
So yeah, that's kind of how Die Hard Till Death formed and came to be, and unfortunately it didn't last very long, but we did make our mark, I guess. People still remember the band and still get the songs played on the radio, and so I guess we made an impact, which is nice. I wish it could have lasted a lot longer. Obviously, that had a lot of potential, and we were all really excited about where it was going to go, but that's
Right.
the music business.
Yeah, unfortunately it is. I'll say that my favorite track over there, of course, is The Wheel. I really like that song.
Oh, right on, man. Yeah, that definitely, that was the first song that kind of stuck out for us too, and we kind of knew that was going to be a single, and that was our first single that we put out, and we had rewritten that song. Well, not really. We kind of redid it because that song's on Rock Band.
Right.
So we Rock Band had asked us to kind of rework the song, and I had Steve add a guitar solo, and I actually had to change my bass line in it too. So, and we recorded that with Sterling Winfield, which was really cool because Sterling had, worked with Pantera and Mudvayne and Hell Yeah.
Right.
And, so he was a great guy to work with. He's a super duper human being. I loved getting that opportunity and getting to work with him. He's a true pro and very good at what he does.
Right, exactly. I don't normally ask things like this, but I am going to ask, is there any possibility of a Die Hard Till Death reunion?
Steve and I talk once in a while. I don't ever say never about, anything. It's just, I guess I'll tell you what I tell Steve, and I said, when the time's right, the time will present itself.
Right.
And we'll know it. And, then that's when it'll happen. As far as any plans for one, we don't have anything planned right now.
Oh, very cool.
But like I said, you never say never. It could possibly happen, and I all want to get back together and do something, and it'd be pretty cool. And just have to wait and see.
Right, exactly. Well, that sounds cool. I mean, like I said, I like the band, I like you guys a lot, and if it does come to fruition, you guys better come to Dallas. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, well, Dallas is definitely got a special place in all our hearts. I know that, and I definitely miss Dallas. I intend getting back there soon. I hope with what I got going on now.
Right.
So,
well, that's kind of a segue into what you are doing now. I know you've got some acoustic stuff going.
Yeah, I've been wanting to do this now for a while. It really started about 2 years ago. It really like started. I just really started wanting to do like making a transition into being a singer-songwriter, acoustic kind of thing. And every time I would start, I'd have other opportunities present themselves for me to either go and join bands or go play on projects, playing bass, which, I wanted to do. And so I had to keep putting on the back burner. And finally this year I said, I'm going to do this. And I'm just going to put everything else aside and focus on writing a record and then touring. And that's really the plan right now. I'm still writing and working on the record now.
Very cool.
And I've already, I got some live dates lined up already, but I want to get a lot more going. And once the album comes out, I'm really hoping to have the album out I'm hoping the beginning of the summer.
Right. Now, aren't you opening for Circle Switch?
Yes, I just got that. I was just able to announce that today. I'm friends with all those guys, and they were nice enough to want me to do a set on their album release party that they're having on May 2nd in Sturtevant. So yeah, I got a few dates, and I got some more coming. And that's what I mean. I definitely want to get back to Dallas and do this because I really miss Dallas. I have a lot of friends out there, a lot of people that have supported me for a long time, and I just want to get back and play again. That's my goal, is to get on the road and tour, and it's a lot easier, obviously, for me to do that because it's just me and a guitar. It's not really hard. That's what I like about acoustic gigs, but I also don't want it to be just a typical acoustic gig. I want to have some sort of entertainment value to go along with it, So there's going to be some stage production and things for people to see, and make it very making it very interactive with the people that are there. That's kind of important to me. I want to make it enjoyable for everybody to come and watch and listen.
Right. Well, that sounds cool, and I'm sure that'll all come in time, and you'll get it going, and I have no doubt. Now,
oh yeah,
I do like to talk about some influences in your life, especially as far as music.
Oh yeah. Well, I really would have to start with my members of my family. I really have to start with my mom and my dad's mom, my grandma Arft, and my mom's dad. Were all really, I think, the catalysts for me, music-wise. My mom specifically, because I was exposed to so many different types of music, and bands and artists. I mean, at 6 years old, I wandered down into our basement out in Manchester, Missouri, and I found my mom's album collection, and I found a record player, and the first 3 records that I pulled out and that I played were the Beatles, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts album.
Nice.
The Beach Boys, Surfing USA, and then the Doors' first record. And I pretty much played those records every single day. After I get home from school or whatever, it was just a daily thing for me to go downstairs and listen to the records that she had. And, as time progressed, back then radio was, you heard so many different artists and genres on the same radio station back in the 70s. You could hear the Eagles and Elton John and Billy Joel, and you could hear Donna Summers and
right. So who are some of your influences as a bass player?
And just for that time period, it was very accessible to get exposed to a lot of different music styles, and then soundtracks were big back then. You had, like the Blues Brothers and Footloose and Flashdance and Saturday Night Fever, and those were all big, and
right.
Just stuff like that. I got exposed to like the playing part of it from both my grandmother and my grandfather, because they both played. My grandmother played guitar and piano. Every time I would go over there to visit, I'd sit on the piano bench with her, and she'd play guitar to me and all that, and I just thought that was the coolest thing. And then she'd leave, and then I'd just go and just stay there and just kind of bang on the keys and make noise.
Right.
My grandfather, again, was another influence, because he was just he played organ, and he was a bit of a celebrity in Rochester. They actually lived in Rochester, New York, which is so funny that I ended up back there after all those years. But he was in TV. He had a show that was before Captain Kangaroo ever came around. The show was called Captain Bob.
Oh, really?
Nice. It was that style. It was that style of show. It was a kid's show, and he was a pirate, and it was. I never actually got to see the show, but I did get to see pictures and whatnot of what he did. But then he transitioned into radio, and all this I've seen. He took me to the radio station a few times and showed me around, and it was just cool. And then as I got older, I started playing saxophone in the school band, You know, I think at around 4th or 5th grade, school started offering band at school, and I took that up. I actually did that all the way through my senior year of high school. I mean, I did concert band and symphonic band and marching band and jazz bands. I mean, I did them all. And
right. So
that's really...
So you're pretty well rounded when it comes to being a musician.
Yeah, I mean, it's so weird because I learned how to read music, and I learned all the notes, and I learned what a quarter note value is versus a whole note. You know, I learned all that stuff, and I did it, like I said, all the way through my senior year in high school. And once I graduated, I really I didn't quite know where to go from there. You know, it was like, I went to college, I went to the community college, and that's kind of where I picked up guitar again. I mean, I didn't have any plans really to do anything with music at that point in time. I just figured, well, that was a time in my life, you know, part of my schooling, and I enjoyed it and got to do a lot of cool things and traveled and whatnot. So I just kind of put it away and was preparing myself to go to college and actually become a school teacher was what I had planned. And then
well, I think some of us that follow you are grateful that you didn't do that.
Yeah, I mean, it's so weird how it's so weird how life where life takes you, and what the plan is. You know, you think you have a plan, but then fate kind of steps in, I guess, and redirects you a little bit. So that's what happened, and I'm really grateful that it did happen that way. You know, I've been very lucky and blessed to be able to do this for as long as I have been doing it, and actually having people that appreciate it and follow me and still listen. So it's really grateful for that.
It's very cool. So I know that your other bands that you played in, Mind Merchant and Made of Metal, are those still in the works?
Well, like I said, I put all my band projects to the side. Made of Metal, I was really enjoying, and because Deanna, the singer, and she is made of metal. We had talked for honestly about a good 2 years about trying to get together and play, and then it finally happened, and everybody was really excited about it, and we had a really good band together. It just didn't work out. It got to the point where I still had commitments to Mind Merchant. I got my commitments with Warren Star Clothing, and I was doing 3 projects at the same time, trying to juggle it all, and I couldn't. I felt like I was kind of shortchanging all the projects instead of being focused on one thing, and it kind of suffered. So, we parted ways, very amicably, and we still talk and everything. Everything's cool. It just it didn't work out, unfortunately.
Okay.
Mind Merchant, is another one that I love playing, with those guys. I've said it earlier when we first got together and did interviews in the past, and said that that was a professional band. All those guys were professional pro players.
Right.
Absolutely killed it every time. So that's just another project that just kind of went by the wayside. I won't say that we've called it quits or anything. I just think we're going to take a break, and I'm focusing in on what I want to do. So
exactly.
Yeah, it's all good, man. I mean, everything's part of the kind of part of the journey, so it's all good.
Right, exactly. Well, let's talk about some of your influences as a bass player. Who who are some of the bass players that you admire and you kind of molded yourself after?
Well, I will say definitely Gene Simmons from Kiss and Nikki Sixx from Motley Crue. They don't really get credit for being, I guess technically good players.
Right.
I think more than anything, what I got from them was what it is to be a bass player in a band, what the role is, I guess, and what it is to be an entertainer as well. I catch a lot of flack for this, but I always feel like obviously it's important to write good songs and to perform well and to play well, and be good at your instrument. I think it's equally as important to also put on a show and be an entertainer, and have some sort of a stage show, some sort of stage presence.
Right.
And that's really where I got that from. As far as like technical, bass players that are really considered excellent players and good at their craft, I definitely David Ellefson from Megadeth is definitely on the top of my list.
Right.
Billy Sheehan, Cliff Burton, Phil Lynott from Thin Lizzy.
Right.
The list could go on. There's a lot of guys I look up to, but Rudy Sarzo is another one, of course. Those guys I kind of got my technical ambition or inspiration from, wanting to be a good bass player and be proficient and kind of know what I'm doing around the fretboard.
Right, exactly. Well, I want to personally thank you for the stuff that you sent a couple of weeks ago. I really enjoyed it, and I'm very grateful that you did that. So.
Oh, no worries, man. I definitely appreciate, you've been supporting me for a while now and never asked for anything, and I've always been cool to me, so it was the least I could do for you. You always share my posts and music and stuff, so I feel it's important to show my appreciation to those folks that take their time, and their talent to lend it to support me. So thank you.
Okay, well, you're quite welcome. Everything. Well, I think this concludes everything. I certainly appreciate this opportunity to have this interview. And we look forward to you coming to Dallas if possible, and I will definitely be there.
Yeah, all right, man. I will. Well, I can definitely guarantee you Dallas is on the calendar, and I will be there, and I hope that everybody else from there will be, as well as the rest of the country.
Yeah, me too. All right, Kurt, it was good talking to you, man.
All right, thanks a lot, man. Take care.
All right, you too.
Yep.
Bye.